Welcome to the Rebel Movement podcast. I'm your host, Haley Barnes, and for this episode, we're focusing on visibility and impact and how you can amplify both by embodying intuitive leadership. So, to do that, I have a very special guest with me who is the most perfect person to share her knowledge on all things visibility, all things impact, all things authenticity. She is a keynote speaker, life and leadership coach, and founder of Flow Academy. It's Carmen Ohling.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this conversation. It's going to be so fun.
It's going to be so fun. All our conversations are always great. And I know you're going to bring so much value to this podcast. So I'm so excited to dive into it. Now, I'm not one for super long intros, as you know, but with your expertise and brilliance literally spanning over so many years, I love to just fill everyone in a little bit about your journey and how you are where you are today.
Yeah. So my quick intro is my husband Joel and I, we had a family young and I started a corporate career because of that, thinking that, I needed to have this stable corporate job. And I spent 16 years in corporate leadership in the finance industry. So if anybody's ever been there, you're wearing your black suit every day, you're definitely in your masculine and you're working way more than you should. And I got to the point where I had so many achievements and so many things on the outside and nothing was seemingly wrong, but yet on the inside, everything was wrong. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, doing things that we think that we should be doing rather than doing things that are really truly aligned with ourselves and our spirit and our calling and our assignment on life. So after 16 years, I left. I started a coaching practice and I've been doing that for almost a decade. And so it's so beautiful how it's really worked out. It really started first as health coaching because I wanted to step away from leadership. And then it went into holistic life coaching. It went into having a coaching academy where I now train people to become coaches or train people to become better leaders in their current work environment. To keynote speaking and hosting events, retreats all across the United States. And so it's just been a beautiful culmination of all of my strengths. And so now I am where I'm at today, which is a life and leadership coach. And so we take all things personal development and bring it to the professional development world so that people, leaders, entrepreneurs, business owners can really get to their next level of freedom and success.
Yeah, that's incredible. And as you were saying all that, I've known Carmen for a couple of years and just I've seen even just the back end of your journey, and it's been really amazing to watch you develop in terms of going from the health coaching to the holistic
Mhm.
coaching to guiding other coaches. I know so many people that go through that program become so embodied in what they're doing, and like they end up creating a life that they love and that they've designed, right? That's one of your key things for
Mhm.
people, and I love that.
Mhm.
It's so beautiful.
Mhm. Yeah, it feels so good. And so many of the students that have gone through the Life and Leadership Academy, the most beautiful thing, and I always talk to them about now, I'm one model of how to do work and how to show up and how to serve and how to make money and how to make an impact. But do it, find it your way. And so
Mm,
everyone goes down their own journey, and it's so beautiful to see them doing it authentic to them.
hmm.
I can see them first kind of like going through the struggling pains. Oh, I should be doing this and I should be doing this. And then really getting settled in and making a huge impact their way, which
Yeah.
looks different than me, which looks different than other graduates or
Hmm.
others of their peers.
Yeah, and that is like the whole premise of what we're discussing a lot through these episodes on the Rebel Movement, and really brings into that intuitive leadership that we spoke about, what the episode's
Mhm.
titled, and just really feeling into that alignment piece and knowing that you're going to be led by intuition. And we often ask the question in this membership, what moves would you make if you knew you can never get it wrong? If you could trust yourself that
Mm.
much that you can
Mhm.
never get it
Mhm.
wrong, like how would your life look? Because I know for me personally, right at the beginning of my journey, I wanted courses and I wanted a membership. But because I was a copywriter, I worked one on one. I thought about group coaching because I saw that was how you needed to scale your business. And you're led
Mhm.
down all these different pathways. And obviously, you learn so much and grow so much through being, redirected countless times. But it's just funny how now I feel so fulfilled and aligned in my business, and thinking back, it was the exact thing that I wanted when I first started. So it's just crazy
Mhm.
how it works like that.
Yeah, and I find when you're trying to really uncover intuitively and how to do business authentically, that we get distracted. Just like what
Mm,
you were talking about, we get
mhm.
distracted with what other people are doing, how they're doing it, and we're not really tuned in to what's inside of us. But I'm not saying that that's wrong. I think that we need to have those things so we can understand what is right for us and what's not right for us.
Yeah.
And coming back home to yourself only can happen when you feel confident enough to do that. And so it really starts with believing in yourself. And sometimes we do have to follow paths that are not meant for us, because that's going to build our confidence on the outside. But confidence on the outside is only one thing. We need to really build our self worth and our self belief on the inside. But
Mhm.
when we take consistent action each and every day, even if it's building confidence on the outside, it's building our self-belief on the inside. And the
Yeah.
more we can have the self-belief on the inside, then the more we can say, okay, I see where I'm at. I'm proud of what I've done, but there's still something that feels like there's an incongruency.
Mhm.
And then we can step back and then, like we can be still and know that inside of us, there is the answer.
Yeah.
Because if we ask ourselves, we keep asking people for the answers or searching for the answer. But if we just step back and just understand and know that the answer is within us, a lot of people say, well, how do I do that? How do I find that? If you do it enough and be still enough and ask, it's going to come through. The answer is going to come through and you're going to be like, oh, wow, I
Mm.
didn't know that that was there. Let me try it this way.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really great tangible thing that you can do to bring that intuitive leadership, regardless of if you're starting business or you're 3, 5, 10, 15 years in. But I would love to know your methods for reaching that stillness. Cause when you first start business, or even, I mean, I'm maybe 4 years in, 4.5 years in, you see so much noise and so many like, oh, well, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that. Like, how do
Mhm.
you come back to yourself to create that stillness so you can become intuitive and lead intuitively?
Mhm, mhm. Something that I highly recommend for all entrepreneurs is having, and I think the word like morning ritual or morning routine is a little bit overused. But what I would highly recommend is having something in the morning where you can be intentional and you
Mm,
can ask yourself just some basic questions of, how do I want to feel today? What's going to make me feel that way? And what is my top priority? Because all too often we're trying to do too many things, and then we do
yeah.
like half of six things and we still have six things left the next day and we're just overwhelmed. And when the overwhelm comes in, then it erodes at that self-belief that we're trying to build, and then we get
Mm,
discouraged. And discouraged is the number one thing that's holding people back. Everybody says it's fear, and I don't believe that. I believe it's discouragement. And discouragement comes from our need for that next dopamine hit, our need for that next instant gratification, because we need to be able to have patience to build something great and stop
yeah.
switching things all of the time. And so, going back to your question, is having that morning ritual or morning routine where we can really sit and just be with ourselves. Get out a journal. And if you haven't started journaling before, is have a journal prompt and just answer the question and start writing. Writing is like tapping into your subconscious. Your
Mhm.
subconscious is going to be part of where your intuition and those answers are. But often we can't hear our intuition. We can't hear what's in there because we're not slowing down long enough to be able to tap into that. And so it's not going to
Mm.
be like some big booming, God's voice coming in. Well, it might be for some people, but it's not for me.
Mhm.
But it's going to be something that you write down and you're like, oh, interesting. Like, so this morning, after I did some writing and some prayer and meditation, I wrote down these three words: love, leadership, and legacy. And
Mm.
that was the formula. And people are probably like, formula for what? What is it? Tell us all the details. Like, I haven't formulated it yet, but those are principles that I stand on. And
Mm,
something that I'm really coaching on, like within our coaching company now, is like, how are you building a legacy and what does that look like? And it comes back to the foundation of love, loving ourselves and caring for others and showing up in service, in leadership, how we're leading and serving and doing our businesses. so that we can leave a legacy for maybe it's our kids, maybe it's the next generation or
Mm.
whatever it might be. But slowing down in the morning and consistently doing it and having a writing practice, I 110%, if anyone tries that and does it consistently, that they'll get what they're looking for.
Yeah, I do. Like, even reflecting on when you're saying it now, I know that my awareness is so heightened when I take that time to journal, to write things down, to
Mhm.
be to explore different things. To I'm a processor, I'm a projector in human design, and I have to take a step back and process a lot because I need to be in emotional neutrality before I make any decisions. That's just part of
Mhm.
my human design and who I know I am as a character and a person. So I reflecting on what you say, I know 1,000% is super powerful to do. So
Mhm.
yeah, huge
Mhm.
takeaway from that one. I love it.
Yeah, and I'm a manifester, so I'm like an idea machine, right? And a
Mm-hmm.
visionary. And so for me, it's writing down all the ideas, but then coming back to them and then sitting with them and using my intuition, using my discernment. What am I feeling about this? What am I thinking about this? How is this aligned with the priorities or the calling that I currently have? Do I need to let something go, lay something down? Do I need to ask for help? And that's like the process that I use when I come back to, because people can, we always hear the idea of being a multi-passionate entrepreneur, and
Yeah.
that's great. And
Mm-hmm.
we can do it all, but just not all at the same time. So we
Mm,
have to be able to use our discernment, our knowing, our intuition to know what's right for us at the time, and then what we need to set aside. And we can be planful about it and do
mm-hmm.
those other things, but when you try to do it all at the same time, then you don't have any time for stillness. Then you can't hear yourself. And now you're just logically operating out of, okay, I need that instant gratification and it's not going to be in
Yeah.
alignment. So you're going to get back to the place where you're no longer in alignment if you do that.
Yeah, 100%. So true. And I see actually it leads perfectly onto the next part of the podcast because I see that a lot with my clients and people in the online space, their visibility strategies, right? Like they change and chop and do all the different things like social media, potentially PR, then they want to get into speaking because of that discouragement that maybe they're not getting the results that they want from all these different marketing methods. But I would love to hear more about your alignment with like keynote speaking and like the visibility that you've crafted around there and how you intuitively know that that's the right thing to push like your business forward and draw your people in because I know you thrive off that so much.
Yeah, and it's something we really coach on in our Life and Leadership Academy. If anybody wants to become certified, we believe that many people do it backwards. So we start building our email list and our social media, but the first thing that you can build is real in-person relationships. My one of my good friends, Tamara Andres, she talks about, instead of using the word community, she talks about your business ecosystem, because an
Mm,
ecosystem is really thriving and it has multiple things. When you think of the world and you think of like nature
yeah,
and the
I love
ecosystem,
that. Mm-hmm.
right? I know she's going to be speaking at our upcoming conference, and I'm just so excited for her to talk about this. But we really believe, and I know, and what's worked for me is if you can get in person with people and share something you're so passionate about, what you're doing is you're giving them a vision. And when you give somebody a vision and they can have that energy with you, then what you're doing is you're building brand advocates. So if you can build a handful of brand advocates that can be referral sources for you, and you can start that way, then you can get testimonials, and then they can refer you to someone else, and then you can speak here and speak here and speak here. So
Mm.
how I started speaking, oh, believe me, in college, I did not take a public speaking class. I took a class called Death and Dying because I did not want to public speak seriously.
No
Um,
way.
yeah, but I started working with clients, and they started going, "Well, could you come do a lunch and learn?" And so I started doing these
Mm,
corporate lunch and learns, and I was like, "Wow, I'm making a huge impact on a number of people." Because at that time I was doing one-on-one and group coaching. So I had
mhm.
20 like one-on-one clients, and then I had like 75 in a group coaching program, but I was maxed out.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was getting in front of people, I was able to impact more people and hear more messages. And people were able to hear more messages. So I just kept going with that. And then I realized, oh wow, I have a gift for this. Because when I get up on stage in front of hundreds or thousands of people, it just like it flows through me. Now it
Yeah.
didn't at first, but it really flows through me. Getting on TV is another great strategy for. I'm not going to tell you that you're going to get clients hand over fist, but you're going to build a crap ton of credibility if you can get
Yeah.
a TV segment. Because if people see you on TV, they're like, oh my gosh, she's doing or he's doing such cool stuff. This
Yeah,
is
for
so
sure.
wonderful. And so I
Mm-hmm.
have a whole strategy around TV too. But if you can get in front of people and your energy in front of people, I mean, you're going to make a bigger impact. And I could get up on stage and do just a soft mention of my coaching academy or my corporate workshops that we're doing. And
Mm-hmm.
afterwards, people will want to come up to me and ask how to sign up
Yeah.
because the vision that you are crafting and how dynamic and passionate you are about the thing. I'm not bouncing all around about the thing that I know about and I'm an expert in life and leadership coaching, then they want more of it. And
Yeah.
anybody can do it. You just have to find your one thing and start talking about it.
Yeah. And I think that's that again links back to the intuitive leadership with really sitting still and defining, like if people are I was exactly the same as you. I was the girl who didn't take Spanish because she didn't want to get in front of the class and have to speak. Like I am the opposite and now I host so many calls, like I do events, I obviously have this
Hmm.
podcast. Like you wouldn't think that I was that person. I think that maybe last year or the year before, if I'd have sat still and been like, okay, no, I'm not going to do any speaking events because I'm not very good at that, or I'm not going to do any podcasts because I don't like the sound of my voice, or whatever, you know what it is. But if you try it as well, maybe you do unlock something that you're actually
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
aligned with that you never realized in the first place. So I love that because you can create such a visual through in person. I love retreats, I love in person events. They honestly have generated me a ton of revenue, never mind just like the amplification of the education that you get there. It's so spectacular. But yeah, such a powerful thing. And I mean, tell me about your in-person event this year because I'm so excited to hear more about that.
Yeah, so it's September 20th through 21st in Bend, Oregon, which if you've never been to Bend, Oregon this time of year, it is so beautiful, like cool, crisp nights, sunny, warm
Hmm.
days. But it's called Amplify Your Life World Conference. You can DM me the word amplify. I'll shoot you over all the information or go to my website at carmenohling.com. But here's the thing for this is we're not only amplifying the life and the leadership of the attendees that are coming, and it's really meant for leaders in the corporate space and entrepreneurs, consultants, and business owners who have reached a certain level of success and know that there's more, but there's like a sticking point. And
Hmm.
so we're going to give you all the tools and resources and connections to be able to get to the next level. There's going to be no wallflowers. So included with your ticket, you're going to join a mastermind and have a coach before, during, and after. But the second intention for it is we're really building up a new generation of thought leaders and change makers. So we're amplifying the voices of some people that are going to impact the lives of the attendees so huge that you may not ever even heard before. And
Hmm.
that's something that's really big on our heart. And attendees will also have an opportunity to submit a pitch to speak on stage as well, because we want to amplify as many voices as we can. And we just know the power of getting in the room and connection, because that's what we need to get to the next level. First of all, most of us don't exactly know what our gifts are on the inside. I didn't for a long time because I didn't believe in myself. And then once
Hmm.
I started believing in myself, I found out what my gifts are. So finding out what your gifts are. But then once we max out on our gifts, we have to have that network to help us, right?
Yeah, for sure.
To like where our skill set ends, our network begins. And so often we get to a level of success and we keep asking, how do I do this? How do I do this? And we feel stuck. And the question isn't how, it's who. It's who's that person that
Hmm.
can help me get to the next level. So that's what this room is all about.
I love that. And I love how how much this has been on your heart, especially, like ever since you've been speaking and going to events, you've thought,
Mhm,
how can I make
mhm.
this different? How can I make this a better experience for everyone who's going to be involved, and how are they going to learn and, like you said, be amplified as much as possible during just one in-person event. So I'm so excited for you and
Yeah.
where it goes, and everyone speaking. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much. I am just so overjoyed about it. It's coming together so beautifully. And for people listening, it's not just a bunch of speakers that are going to inspire you. It's a highly curated day that's taking through you a full immersion experience so you can truly get to the next level of your success and of your freedom. And you're going to have tangible tools and resources and action steps to take away. So it's not just going to be like where your inspiration. It's going to be like, no, we're doing the work,
Mm.
and then you're going to leave completely changed.
Yeah, because I think even when we spoke about your event at the beginning of year or the end of last year, you were
Mhm.
saying how in-person events are amazing, and I've experienced the same thing. But once
Mhm.
you leave after, like the hype and the adrenaline goes down, or maybe like the following week, and you're just sat there
Yep.
like, oh, I don't really know what to do now. Like I learned all this amazing information, but
Yep.
which one do I go with first, and what do I do? And then you just end up just parking it for months and months and months because
Mhm.
you don't follow through with it. So I feel like that's such a beautiful part of your event, is that you're really gonna have these actionable integration steps.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm so excited for everyone.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to stick the information for the event in the show notes below. And I'm also going to put Carmen's amazing quiz in there where you get to identify your unique superpowers. So that really helps you bring out that intuitive leadership side and really allow you to be more aware of who you are in life and in leadership. So check out the show notes for more information. And again, thank you so much, Carmen, for being in here. I know everyone will love this episode.
Thank you so much, Haley. This was so fun.